Hi, welcome to the tutorial on the modern atom, tutorial 2.3 part 1. In this tutorial we're going to look at some pictures of atoms. You'll see it on the next slide there. And all we're trying to do is identify or answer 5 different questions. What's the atomic number, mass number, what is the name of the nuclide shown, and then identify the core and valence electrons. So we'll do 2 examples. This first one we'll start off with, and then we'll have one more. Alright, so let's look at the first question. What's the atomic number of the nuclide? Well, the atomic number is just the number of protons. And we can see from this legend here, the kind of gold color it indicates the number of protons in this diagram, so it looks like it's just 13. So that's the atomic number. It's the same as the number of protons. Next, what is the mass number? Well, the mass number is all the sum of all the particles in the nucleus, and that includes those protons that we just counted for the atomic number, plus the neutrons. And the neutrons are this kind of gray set of gray spheres. So that's a total of 26. We just add those 2 up. All right, so that is what we mean by the mass number of a particular type of atom. Finally, the name of the nuclide. Now, the name has 2 parts to it. You have to write the name of the element, followed by the dash, and then the mass number. So we know the dash is going to be followed by the mass number, which we just figured out was 26. But now in the front here, we've got to try to figure out what the name of the element is. Well, how do we do that? We know the atomic number is 13. So it's the 13th element in the periodic table. So let's see if we can figure it out. 1, 2, and then we go down 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So it's Al, and I remember what that is. That's aluminum. So I know it's aluminum, and then followed by the mass number, 26. Great. Last one. How many, 2 last questions. How many core electrons are there? Now, the core electrons are the electrons that are sitting in the completed or filled inner shells. And remember, the shells go like this. The first shell can have up to 2 electrons. The second shell up to 8, the third shell up to 8, and the fourth we never talked about filling it. So let's just count the number of electrons that are in the core, that is the filled in regions. Well, that first one's filled in, so we've got 2 so far. And then in the second shell we've got 2, 4, 6, 8, and that also fills that up. So it looks like there's a total of 10 core electrons. 2 have filled up the first shell, and the next 8 the next shell. The third shell is not filled up, it just has 2 in it. Last question, how many valence electrons do we have? Well, the valence electrons are the ones in an incomplete shell. So ignoring all the core electrons that we just counted, let's count the valence electrons. That is the electrons in the third shell. 1, 2, and 3. It looks like the answer is 3 for that one. All right, so that was the first atom. We looked at aluminum 26, one of the isotopes of aluminum. And next we're going to look at an isotope of calcium and ask basically the same questions. Atomic number of the nuclide shown, that's that number here. That's that number, the gold, the number of protons. So I can tell that that's 20. Next question, what is the mass number? Well, that's the sum of what's in the nucleus. That is the protons plus the neutrons. All the particles that more or less have mass. 20 plus 22 is 42. All right, and the next one. What's the name of the nuclide? Well, the same logic we did before. We have to go through and find the 20th element. And we can do a little shortcut. At the end here, that's 2, that's 10. Argon ends with 18. So K must be 19 and calcium must be 20. So I know it's calcium, because I've kind of kept track of the periodic table. And what follows after that is the mass number, which we just calculated. 20 and 22 is 42 for the mass number. All right, core and valence electrons. How many core do we have? Those are the completed inner shell. Let's see, the first shell is filled up with 2. The next shell has its 8, so that's 10 so far. The next shell has its 8, 2, 4, 6, 8. That's a total of 18. And it looks like that's it. So it looks like there are 18 core electrons, 18 electrons in completed outer shells. The last 2 that are sitting there in incomplete shells are called the valence electrons. And that's the last question. There must be 2 valence electrons in this particular isotope of calcium called calcium 42. So that's it in terms of just getting through the quiz. Please don't just do this in a rote way. Think a little bit about what it means to be a core electron, a valence electron. But the task at this point is just to identify them and to make sure we know the periodic table how we can determine which element we're talking about when we have the atomic number and what the references to what the reference means when we have the mass number. That's it, short and sweet. I think you'll be okay with this one, but take a look and practice the exercises before we take the quiz. Thanks.